All right, Techno Studs, time for another demo. This time, we're going to be talking about Wireshark. So let's talk about why you would want Wireshark and what it does. Then I'm going to be explaining how to download and install Wireshark. And then finally, we're going to be talking about using Wireshark and what it looks like when you open it up and start using it. So just a quick overview of what Wireshark is and why you'd want to use it. We have talked about the OSI model and how the OSI model has these different layers and what happens generally in each one of those layers. And we've talked about the NIC card and what's happening on the NIC card and how you do some configurations with that. Well, what Wireshark allows you to do is view the traffic that's coming across your NIC card, and you're able to see the different OSI model layers and how it actually plays out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the process of taking a look at Wireshark, and it's a free software. And so we're going to take a look at this free software, how to download it, how to install it. And that way, going forward, is when we start looking at demos, we're going to actually take a look at the traffic that's coming across your interface and see what it looks like when we're talking about these different protocols and these different layers. And so we'll be able to have a much better visualization of that. So let's get started. Let's download it and install it and see what it looks like. So first of all, we bring up a browser. I'm going to bring up Chrome, and I'm going to type in Wireshark download. So I'll search for Wireshark download, and if any ads come up at the top, I always like to skip the ads because there's potential that it's going to lead you to another site or not the ideal location to download this. I want to go straight to the source, and that's usually the top non-ad one that's displayed within Google. So here's download Wireshark. I'm going to click on download Wireshark to get to the site. And once I'm here, I have a few download options. Mine is a Windows 64-bit, so I'm going to click the Windows 64-bit installer and get it downloading. All right, once this is downloaded, I'm going to click on it to get the install started. So for this install, I'm just going to select all the defaults. So I'm going to click Next, Noted. I'm going to install all the default. And finish once again. Okay, let's go ahead and open up Wireshark here and take a look and see what it looks like. So the first thing that I'm going to need to do is select which interface I'm going to want to look at. And the only one that has traffic coming across it right now is shown right here. We can see the traffic that's going across these different network connections here. And the only one that has any kind of traffic is this Ethernet 2. I can verify this if I go and look at here. I can pull this up and I can see it's network 2 that I want. So yes, that's in fact I want. Before I actually click on it and we see some traffic, I will point up here towards the top to start a capture. Then I can click this fin and that will actually start capturing the data. To stop it, I can click this stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this Ethernet right here, have it start capturing the data, and then I'm going to stop and let's talk about the data a bit. All right, so I'll double click that Ethernet 2. It's collecting the data. As you can see, there's a lot of traffic that's coming across here. And one reason for that is a Windows machine is very chatty. It likes to connect to the outside world. There's even something that goes out there and sees if there's an internet connection. So right from the get-go, your machine is going to have quite a bit of information that's going to come across it. But there's probably a little more here because I'm actually connected to this machine through RDP. I'm going to go ahead and stop this now. I'm connected through RDP. So a lot of the information that's going back and forth is actually my RDP traffic. So we started and stopped. If I wanted to start again, there's some buttons up here. This first little section of this ribbon are just to start, stop, restart. The second section of this application here, that's just to save the file, to delete the file, to reload the file. So there's different selections there. We have some filter options. So there's this hourglass here, or not hourglass, but a magnifying glass to do some filtering options. Then I've got some navigation buttons. So I can go prior to, if I click on one of these, I can go scroll one by one forward or backwards through here to see what the different packets are. I can skip to the beginning, skip to the end. So I'm going to skip to the beginning of this, and we're going to start analyzing from the beginning. And then there's some zoom in and zoom out. So I'm going to zoom in so we can see what we're doing here and what it is that we're looking at. So each one of these is a packet that came across that network interface card. So that first packet that we see right here is that first packet that came across this network interface card. It has a timestamp of 0, and that's because it's in relationship to when we started this capture. So the first packet that came across there was within 0 right away. And then all of these came within a second. The first, what would we say here? The first 22 packets came within the first second that we started this. It shows us the source that it came from. So 71.63.178.195. So that's the physical machine that I'm on, the network that I'm on, that is going to 172.31.44.159. And so that is the private address of this network interface card. We can see the protocol that was used. So TLS version 1.2, that's the protocol TLS version 1.2 is actually an encryption that's happening there. And then the length of it, that is how big that packet was, and then some additional information, and this is application data. So that is each one of those packets. So I can scroll through here and see each one of those packets as I go through here. So this is coming, this first one is coming from my machine, is the source, and going to this machine, that's the destination. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you. And then this machine it has sent something back from this machine to my machine, and it sends actually 3 packets in a row there. So these two machines are chatting back and forth. This section down below here, I can see the different layers. So this is where it's going to apply to our class, because we're going to take a look at these different layers and see what these different layers look like. So I'm not going to get real in depth into this right now, but we can see the Ethernet frame. We can see the IP packet that has come across here. We can see the transmission control protocol, the TCP, and then we can see what's happening in that transport layer. So we can see different layers here. And then down below here is the actual bits that are being sent across there. So right here on the left-hand side, those are in hexadecimals that we see that's being sent across. So once again, in future videos, I'm going to take a look more in depth into this. But what I recommend is, for now, just install this and get familiar with it. You don't need to get too crazy. We'll take a look at more of the detail that's involved in this in future videos.